Hey everyone, Joe here, and today's special guest is Derek. And honestly, Derek and I met before at Gen Con. Hello.
Yes, hello.
And it was weird because we were not supposed to meet. I was actually at the booth for something else. And I saw we'll say, the overly abundance of positive energy coming from Nomnivore. I'm like, we got to talk about this. And we started talking about game design and what the game was and just the different aspects of it. So first, I have to ask, why Nomnivore? Why Nomnivore?
Do you mean the name, the mission?
Yeah,
What
the
exactly?
all the above. The name. Where's the name come for? Because I'm
Sure.
Nomnivore.
Yeah. So it's a bit of an inside joke, I guess, is the story there. Nomnivore, the name comes from when I used to run guilds and raids and MMORPGs. Yeah, I met a lot of really good friends that way. And
Warcraft?
um, sorry, what?
Was it Warcraft? Was it rhyme with
It,
World
it
of?
was it was World of Warcraft. It was like Ragnarok. It was Guild Wars, and etc. Like
Oh
Guild Wars
wow, you
was
did
was really where it kind of took off.
really
Um,
nice.
yeah, and the name came from us all gaming till whatever hours late at night and just enjoying snacks while we chatted and just having fun. And the idea there, which kind of became the spirit of the particular company, was like back then we were all in like high school and everything, and as we continued to develop we realized just how much games were important to kind of like our not only like mental health but our social health. It was a great way of connecting people from all different walks of life from different areas of the world together, and that's effectively kind of the spirit behind like this little guy, the little dinosaur that we have here, the Nomnosaur, where they love snacks, they love a bunch of trouble, they love games, and we built this entire company about trying to make sure there's always a seat around the gaming table, literally for anyone and everyone. And our company is built around trying to make games as exclusive as we can, or sorry, as inclusive as we can, with being like neurodivergent accessible, with trying to wrap in a lot of positive psychotherapy elements to it. And we also dabble in making things as accessible to physical disabilities as we can. It's not where we specialize, but something that we partner with a lot of
Right.
different charity groups to achieve. And that's also why, despite us technically not being a nonprofit, we operate like that, where we're really kind of paying forward to make sure we're raising everybody up to be able to play however they want.
Well, that's an amazing thing, and that's one of the things I really loved about your booth was when we were talking. It was everything you want as an educator, everything you want as actually a decent human being. I should probably preface there, being as inclusive as possible and being something that can help from being neurodivergent and beyond enjoy gaming. Because we don't want to, games, you don't want to exclude anyone. There always should be the more the merrier type thing. And yours
Yeah,
was the first booth that really hit that home. That really hit that
yeah,
home.
which is a bit of like an unfortunate element. Like I didn't necessarily want to be the first one to do it, and but like it became kind of a thing that we're currently known for. But like ultimately, what we want to do is we want to establish a pattern so that other developers, game companies, and all that can follow. Because, as you put it, right, like fun games, all that shouldn't be exclusionary toward anyone. Um, yeah, if anything, we actually start off in a pretty weird way. Most people that fall into this particular industry come from other ones. People aren't like born inherently as game designers, though. That's changing now with college programs being built around game design. And if people specifically want to learn about like how I go about designing games, I do also teach at like a college on this type of
It's
stuff.
wonderful.
And don't tell the college this, but like all of my teaching materials are available for free. Feel free to reach out at any point. Yeah, because we want to make sure that it's not just about being able to make games that are accessible, but we also want to teach people how to make games accessible in the most accessible way we can. But This all started actually where when I actually came from psychotherapy to start, and I really wanted to make psychotherapy more accessible to everyone, right? Because mental health shouldn't be something that's exclusionary either. But to democratize care, we realized, what better way of doing than hiding all the cool best parts of psychotherapy into games, right? Like that's the best way to have people gain access to it. But it was in that process that we realized that games weren't accessible, which is what got us on this particular warpath.
I love that because I do teach as well. I
Yeah.
teach as well, and part of the wonderful things I love to do with my classes is teach them how to play games. Let's see if I missed. There's a couple on the shelf up there, and then like the next part of the semester is how do you make your own game. But I never took this step further, is saying how do you make your accessible game. And I love how you're pushing that out there. And this is like I get to learn too, you know.
Well, the irony there is, I actually think we always get to learn as long as you're willing to lean in and listen to the people around us. So, like, we specifically utilize a educational psychology terminology in how we design games called scaffolding, and that's really just a fancy schmancy academic way of saying that everyone is a wealth of knowledge, and so long as you can find a way to listen to each other, you can actually learn from one another. And games are just a great meeting place to make that happen, right? Like, think about the last time you came up with a really cool gameplay strategy or like a build because you saw someone else in your group doing something cool. You're like, man, I want to do that as well. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And
no, I
brings
feel
the
like we,
social
we
part.
vibe on that wavelength.
Yeah, and you're right, and it brings the social part of it. And I think that when we were both, at least when I was growing up, I went through the Dungeons and Dragons evil scare, where like, oh, they're devil worshippers, those people playing games. You can never play the, but have Milton Bradley's like the Ouija board. Milton
Yeah,
Bradley put that one out, or Parker Brother, what it was. And Dungeons and Dragons, that's bad. And Warcraft, that's you're just wasting your time. They're not real people. No, they are real people. Like you're playing with real people. And I think our generations are like one of the first ones that kind of see that online is real.
yeah,
It
yeah.
has that effect. And you're bringing it into your Nomnivore game. So you went from this concept to make a diversive and again, wrong word, a diverse, not diversive, two different
Yeah.
words, sound alike, a diverse game that can be inclusive for all peoples. And you decided to make it a card. Is that a card game?
Uh, no, it's actually much more than that.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so Nomnivore is an entire company, and we publish tons of games, and
nice.
not just games, but we publish children's books, kids' toys, everything. And it works in a way where we understand that everyone has unique and independent interests, and we still want to bring you together to share in those interests with one another. So we use a unique way of approaching game design called kernel X modular design, where we take the core of a game and compress it into the simplest possible experience. That doesn't mean there's not depth to it. It's just compressed in a way that where it's super efficient. And then we add modules, which are ways that allow you to change how the game works a little bit to fit kind of your particular play style. So the way that we describe it is you're not playing our game so much as you're playing your game. And our games have that in a built in a microwave where you can customize everything within the game, but also in a macro strategy where you can progress from one game to another game to another game to another product and whatever else in a way where the game suite develops alongside of you. Right? Like I'm not so conceited to think that my game is going to hold your interest forever, right? Like everyone likes to play lots of things, and you as a person develop as your skills develop, as whatever else. So we wanted to create something that could help foster that particular growth, but not just as like a singular product, but as a web of products to be able to meet you wherever you need as you let's say grew up from 2 years old to 80, or if you were trying to, let's say, develop your ability to read despite being dyslexic, like we'd always have something to catch you.
That's wonderful. So it's a modular approach as well.
Yeah,
So you can build on, but you don't need to, and you can get the one that vibes with you the most to build
exactly.
onto the game. Awesome. Have you ever seen parents or educators reach out to you saying, "My child is this. Well, I have a classroom of X. What's the best way to approach it?"
Oh, all the time. And I always have the most, I guess, like benign or stupid answer for them, which is, well, have you tried making it fun? right? Like as much as right, step one, and in fact, it's kind of the most important part. Like all of the game design, and we can kind of get onto the soapbox and get like really nitty gritty into the details. But game design is ultimately finding a way to systematize fun. Right, like the rules create restrictions, and those restrictions allow for creativity, and that creativity is where you get player expression and the mastery of those skills, knowing and finding ways to express things that are uniquely you is arguably where a lot of the fun is. And the main problem a lot of the time, not only in like psychology but even academia, is that we don't care about you individually, right? Like, despite us being multiple generations beyond the Industrial Revolution, our school system is built like that, where we're trying to get people into being interchangeable cogs in a factory system that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. And because of that, a lot of learning isn't enjoyable until, and this is what a lot of people are realizing now, gamifying learning can make learning really fun. And there's so many people that will learn from games. They'll learn from just conversations with one another, right? Like right now, us having this back and forth. So, finding ways to make that more engaging by not like effectively optimizing or systematizing all the fun out of it is where you'll be able to find ways to encourage that. So, but that's kind of the like philosophical answer. And then on the practical level, like we have organizations. I'm going to shout out one right now. One that's a really near and dear favorite of mine, VGC USA, which is short for Video Game Clubs of America. It's, in my opinion, poorly named. Yes, Josh, if you're listening to this, you can hate me for saying that out loud. But the reason why I don't think it's a great name is because they go well beyond video games. The entire philosophy behind that charity is that they want to make sure that no kid ever eats lunch alone. And like I'm aware, Joe, you probably watch Glee. I'm pretty sure most of your listeners here have probably watched Glee too. But like, think that model, but about
Yeah,
games.
we're
And they
game.
build all these cool gaming clubs, after school clubs at schools, at libraries, these interactive spaces where kids are able to learn from each other. And they're not only backed and staffed by a bunch of educators to special needs professionals and all that, but they're built in a way where they take games, both the ones that you love as well as specialized games like ours, to write SEL standards so that you can actually use them in an educational way to help kids catch up, learn the essential skills that they need, and so on and so forth.
And part of those essential skills, especially since COVID, is socialization.
Oh yeah, yeah. The
One that's
amount
missing.
of people that really push and care about like SEL now is huge. In fact, a lot of like the cohort that I'm currently teaching, even at a college level, are the ones that went through all of high school remotely, and it's
Yes,
a remarkable difference between them and even just like students from a couple of years either before or after that.
absolutely. It's same experience where sometimes you see a student like, "Hey, how do I talk to this girl?" Like, well, you just do. Like,
Yeah.
what do you
Have
mean you
you
just talk? I'm
considered?
like, yeah, you just talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what this mouth's for right there. But you see this as an educator. You see this as a game designer.
Mhm.
Are you also, and you are a fan of games, did you ever bring in the game you wanted to play but didn't have yet as inspiration to make new games?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, we do a lot of different games, but like my heart and soul is probably in my TTRPG Emberwind. Um, Mainly because it completely reversed the formula. Like we wanted very much to deliver the type of experience you expected of a game like D&D, but we wanted to build it in reverse. The way that most people look at D&D is this is a game that's built for like this audience, and then we're now going to find ways to lower the barrier of entry so more people can get in. And I hated that approach. The idea of lowering a bar so more people can play means that you've designed something that is exclusive from the get-go, and now you have to find ways to make it inclusive, right?
By definition, yeah.
Yeah, by definition. So I wanted to create something that was as inclusive to every audience as we could, and then lift people up to play however they want.
I love
So
it.
we created a really unique system that works off of like a one-page rule set that anyone could play. And for the more neckbeardy type like myself, there's ways with the modules that you could add to it to create a 300-page rule set to be as nitty-gritty and as nuanced as you want. And now I finally had a game that I could play together with my wife. right? Like as selfishly as that sounds, because like she was the target audience, somebody who always wanted to get into this type of stuff, but had no ability to get through that like 300-page rule set, no matter how much
12
you simplified.
volumes of like, right. Not even. I mean, we grew up as with the kids. We had a head start. But if you're starting now, like I can't even tell you how many
Yeah,
player handbooks, how many monster manuals, how many player dungeon master monster manual player handbooks. I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to play a game, please.
right. And like nobody necessarily has the time, and if they don't have if they do have the time, they probably don't have like the money necessary to get into it because like, well, how am I going to play if I need 800 books to get into this, right?
Absolutely. And a lot of the books were, if you ever read your terms of service from Apple, that's some of the
Uh,
material. That's some of the material. That's how thick it is. Because it's so granular. Like, oh my gosh, just how do I get into this? So you built something that you can go from a one pager, which is amazing, and have instant fun, right? Not a lot of setup and gone. And I have to ask, does your wife like it?
uh, sort of. She loves it because I make her. No, I'm kidding, but no, she does enjoy it. She definitely sees the artistry behind it. But what makes her enjoy it probably the most is that my wife is unfortunately both a sore loser and a sore winner. She's the type that's incredibly competitive, and I designed a system that found a way that allowed us to have our own unique and independent rule sets while still playing together. And not only was that something that's the case, the game also functions without a GM if you don't have one. So it it creates this kind of dynamic where she's able to play her own way and still be competitively on par with whatever I'm doing, even though like it is technically like a cooperative narrative game. But like she's all like, hey, look, I did just as much DPS as you did. I'm like, okay, like chill, that's fine. But like that's kind of the heart and soul of it, right? The fact that we were able to create an experience where no matter what type of gamer you are, you're able to find that fun out of it, right? The narrative gamer can enjoy the narration, the power gamer can power game, and it doesn't in any way with you expressing yourself detract from somebody else's expression. So
Absolutely. That makes sense. So the narrative game that doesn't detract, it's more of a back and forth, is kind of like the bloody head and name of bronze, if you're familiar with, where you have the one person, the soothsayer, and then you have the name dealers and stuff like that. So you have this aspect of your game that's immediately social built in, and cooperative, and at the same time competitive.
yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily competitive in like the typical, oh, like I'm going to PvP
One
you
person
type thing.
must win. Yeah, I
Yeah,
talked
it,
about
it gives
beforehand.
you yeah, it gives you the ability to express yourself, be yourself, but also, and this is kind of the real thrust of the game, it inspires you from within to want to know about why other people are doing things that particular way. It inspires that
Love it.
curiosity, right?
Yeah,
Rather than, forces you to read 300 pages rules, or more likely, you'll make your DM read it and then have them try and explain the rules to you.
as you break all the rules, you kind of planned out for a while. Absolutely. So, what's your current catalog? What's your current catalog for Nomnivore? What do you have?
So currently, if we're talking just games, on the casual card game end, we have Snack Attack, which is a competitive snack stealing game that may or may not teach kids how to gamble, so don't tell them that. We also have Dungeons and Dinos, which is a fun twist on games like Munchkin. It's a co-op take of a dungeon crawler, but by
Yes.
co-op I don't mean cooperative, I mean co-optional. The last card game we just dropped is called Get Baked, and it's a competitive cookie baking game. And that one is built specifically for a charity called Cookie Brigade, which is, if you go to like the PAX series of shows, you'll know them very well. But all the money that goes to them, like it depends on where they decide to forward it, but it sometimes goes to things like Child's Play and whatever else to make sure that kids in hospital care can receive that. On the RPG end, along with Emberwind, we have Nomaventure, which is our baby's first RPG built for kids 5 and up. Same type of modular build, but it's built for like all types of neurodivergence, not only in an educational way, but it's good for like straight up family fun, and it's built for professional use in both like clinical settings and also in schools and special needs. Um, Beyond that, we have a bunch of other game things that I can't necessarily talk about yet. We may or may not be dabbling in some video game stuff and some other really interesting hardware, but like our goal is always to find more ways to bring fun to more people.
And that's what it should be. Honestly, I love how you're using this as part of a therapy and part of educational, right? Because if
Well,
you
so
gamify things, it goes great.
if you don't mind me interrupting really quick, I really don't like the term therapy. I'd like to say that this is therapeutic. And this is coming from
Therapeutic.
like
Okay.
specifically like a psychotherapist, right? And the reason why I'm saying that is the therapy is very formal and it's built around like the specific thing where like for a 50-minute hour we'll sit in a sterile office where you tell me about how much you hate your mom, right? Like cool. And for some people that's going to work real well. But that isn't true for everyone. And at the end of the day, if you can conceive it this way, a therapist wants you well enough to never have to see you again, right? Like it's not because we hate you, but we want you in a position where you need to rely on us, right? So, but we're not like as humans, we're not socially isolated creatures. We need to have friends, family, some sort of support group around us. And what better way than to create something through games, right? To find those support groups of shared interests where you can be yourself around other peers that love and enjoy you for who you are.
Absolutely.
Um, and in that particular case, like I think way more than the therapeutic intervention you get from a therapist, what really matters is that therapeutic moments where you're having a fun time, where you're able to enjoy yourself and sharing that with the people around you that really matter to you. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes it's those, especially in classrooms where I would see a student who is painfully shy because maybe English is their 12th language and they're just painfully, painfully shy. And you see them get lost in the game and then start speaking and then start opening up and then start wanting to come to class next week. And then all these things build from these small moments. They build in people's lives. And sometimes, as you're an educator, you know this, you might have been that child's or that adult's moment in his life or her life, whatever, for that day, for that week, for that year. You were the bright spot. And it takes that one spark to keep them here. So
Yeah,
I
I don't think
appreciate these games.
I don't think I can put it a better way than you did, right? Like it might for to you be a small meaningless moment, but to someone else that could have been life-changing.
Life changing. Absolutely. We never know whose lives we're changing. Now, speaking of changing things, I'm going to segue here. Has there been something you just wanted to put out, you couldn't because the technology is not there, or like the right rule set's not in your mind yet? Some kind of issue or problem. You just, God, I wish it's like 10 years from now. I can probably get this one done.
Yeah,
Anything that's,
so
yeah.
I mean, the irony to that is that was Emberwind, right? Like I made that game system in high school, which oh my god, at this point is like over 20 years ago. But like, it's something that nobody understood when I first released it. Everyone's like, well, okay, but like I don't understand how this is an RPG if you don't need a DM. And wait, what do you
Right.
mean you could have a DM? Like, what does that like flexibility mean? And people
Good.
are yeah, and people are kind of looking into and buying into that a bit more now, right? They're like, oh, we get kind of where this is going. If anything, something that really helped conceptualize it to people is the popularity of Baldur's Gate 3, right? Where Baldur's Gate is like the video game adaptation of a TTRPG.
Right.
Emberwind is a TTRPG adaptation of a video game RPG. And everyone's like, oh, like it's come full circle. This all makes sense. And Emberwind still is that project. It's that dream project where it's the pie in the sky where I'm chasing things. And the next step that we're currently at, it could take us another 10 years, is specifically hybridizing in a way where we have it as a physical digital game.
Love it.
Yeah, like originally it was always built to be that, which is why Emberwind, when you pick up a physical book, it comes with digital parity. It comes with PDFs that update for life, and we give you support packs you can play on, let's say, Roll20 and Foundry. But the next step, and it's the step that we got hung on, unfortunately, because our web development team is Ukrainian, and we all know what's going on in Ukraine currently. Um, yeah, it was full digital databasing. We wanted to create an entire suite, basically give you guys D&D Beyond, but free. But that only brings us up to like where everything is currently. We have all of these desires, all these plans, and all these things where we want to streamline in a way where anyone at any skill level can basically create whatever they want to kind of build that community, to then be credited for it, to also grow it in a way where, let's say, the online database will not just communicate and like know your stats in a way where when you're playing the physical game, like you rolling a die, that die should be able to tell you if you hit, you missed, and so forth. If you're blind, the die should be able to read out the rules for you. Being able to build that into, let's say, like physical hardware, like your game board, that can physically, despite you playing on a table, communicate with another mat on a table halfway across the world, right? That would be phenomenal. And that stuff that people are turning into and tuning into now, I think it will take a lot more years of development to make some of that happen. But like we're here for it. We're at that cutting edge, and we're happy to invest the time, energy, and money to make that happen.
Well, I'm glad you guys are, because it's one thing to have a friend who thankfully has a screen reader now, or now there's programs on TV that'll tell you like the stage direction so you can hear it. But you playing tabletop, you rolling a dice, you don't know. And it kind of takes that like one more pause. So you take that out of there and you make it more accessible, and that opens up a whole new audience, not just for commercial use, but a whole new audience of enjoyment, a whole new level of
Yeah,
inclusion. And
I
I think
think
that's
it's
where it needs
also
to go.
about. Oh, sorry, I keep going.
No,
I
was,
interrupted
I
there.
was just no. That's what I was just saying. I think that's where it needs to go.
Yeah, well, the other thing, and I think this is worth flagging, is this is also about preserving enjoyment, right? Like, we belong to the generation of the very first nerds out there. It, like, blows my mind when, like, Zoomers go, oh, yeah, like, I've been playing, like, Fortnite and Minecraft since I was 6, and somehow that's cool now, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I
well, back
know.
then we get beat up for this, right? Um, but there's a saying in the disability services and the specialists there, which is that we all should strive to live long enough to acquire disability, right? Like we don't want to like croak before then.
Right.
And if eventually, right, no matter how much we try and maintain our physical body, eventually something's going to happen. Like our eyes don't work as well, our joints don't. Like we've developed arthritis. Oh no.
Are you talking
But
to me now? I'm like, I got special glasses to see anyone. Yes, one day
yeah,
that might happen to
right.
me.
Right, and it's coming sooner than people think, right?
Yes.
And because of
Yes.
that, if we want to be able to maintain the ability for people to continue to do all the things that they love for as long as possible, because there's no reason why a senior shouldn't be allowed to, let's say, play a game, right?
Absolutely.
There's more reason than ever now to make this stuff be a thing while we're still able-bodied enough to do it, so that let's say 20 or 30 years from now, we can still be the nerds in a completely unmitigated, uncontrolled way.
No, that's brilliant, and I love that aspect of it. Now, I asked this question to all of my guests: if you can go back in time and tell your younger self, and I mean like below teenage, so like 15, 16 or below, some advice, what would your advice be to younger you?
Uh, get as much sleep as you can now, because you won't later.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's good advice right there. Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
because like game design is an incredibly rewarding profession when it comes to kind of like the creativeness that you feel, but it isn't one that really pays the bills. And this is doubly so for a company like mine, where we don't actually take paychecks. Every hour that we put in this company is completely voluntary, and
Interesting.
every dollar that we make that doesn't go into making more content effectively gets donated out to the charities that we work with.
Right, right,
And um, it's to basically make the bills and haha yay capitalism work, right? Because people need to eat and pay rent. Everyone who works at Nom has full-time jobs running other stuff as well. And if those jobs are in the same realm that I'm from, right? Like everyone's heard of STEM, but HEAL is the flip, right? This is like healthcare, education, and so forth,
right.
where you're doing that in a way where, like, I used to also do psychotherapy for free, right, for as many people as I could. But that is also a huge time sink because everyone kind of deserves that respect and time. So, like, I've regularly, for like the past decade or more, had like work weeks of 120, if not plus, hours. That is thankfully being reduced now because like we've gotten enough footing in the industry that we don't need to work that
Now
crazily
it's just
anymore.
100 hours.
Yeah,
What am I
something like
supposed to do
that. I
with all
think
this
I'm
20 hours?
averaging like 70, 80 now, but
Oh,
like it's not it's 50% less than 4, which is still 200% too much. But
yeah,
yeah, but the point is, yeah, I tell my younger self, please, get more rest.
Bank it now.
And yeah, from kind of that humorous view, but also like it's through that rest, and this is kind of the more like philosophical bit of it. It's like through that rest that you really have to learn that the importance of like a work life balance. Because like if you don't know that work life balance yourself firsthand, then you also won't understand what's fun for other people, right? Because like I've spent so much time working on games that I rarely get a chance to play games anymore, and there are moments where like doing that for too long puts me in a position where I just could very well not understand the audience I'm trying to serve,
Yep.
right? So making sure I take moments to stop for myself, realize that I'm human, very important, because at the end of the day, like that's all we all really are.
Absolutely. No, that's brilliant advice, and I think that goes to all of our younger and current selves sometimes. So, Derek, where can we find you and Nomnivore? We're online. Where can we find you online?
The easiest place to find everything would be off of our website, nomnivoregames.com. It
Cool.
sounds difficult to spell, but it's really not too bad. It's the word omnivore with an N in front of it, if that makes it any easier.
It does.
Um, that's kind of the parent site. It'll link you to things like our social media, to our Discord, to Emberwind's entire database, and so on and so forth. We will be updating that eventually. We're looking at opening up a charitable foundation arm. We're potentially opening up like a publishing branch and a bunch of like educator resources. So please make sure to keep revisiting that site because there's going to be more and more cool stuff there for everyone.
Absolutely. And where can we find you and your educational resources? Also, Nomnivore.
Yeah, so if you reach out literally at Nomnivore for anything, it will always go to me anyway because, game
Cool.
design, everyone wears a ton of hats. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to kind of email out those particular resources to you if you would like to request
Uh,
it.
you might get a request in about 20 minutes.
Ah, perfect.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, I'm
maybe,
ready for
maybe.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. So I appreciate it. I appreciate what you do in the gaming and educational community. I loved your booth. Again, it was a happy little accident, and sometimes history is made for all the wrong reasons. And I'm so thankful for you to sit down and actually talk without the 12,000 million people in Gen Con popping back and forth. I can't
Oh,
wait to see what's next. I really can't. It's something near to my heart, education and gaming both, and inclusion is wonderful. So I want to say thank you as an educator for people that actually had people who could not play games before because they had blindness or they had some kind of neurodivergence, that you're putting stuff out that we all need. So thank you.
I'll flip it around and tell you thank you so very much, right? Like I can do whatever I'm doing for as long as possible, but if nobody knows it exists, then like it's very much like if a tree falls, does anyone hear it, right? So um, like the awareness that you're bringing to all this, I literally can't thank you enough because again, like that's the whole point is accessibility and knowing that it exists is the hugest step in the process.
Well, I appreciate that. Honestly, I do. And hopefully we can get a lot of people, some lot of cool games, a lot of cool stories. And thank you so much. And on behalf of myself, Joe and Derek, we bid you, I'm trying my best Paul Harvey still, working this one. Good day. I don't have it. Bye, everyone.
See it.
Bye.